So we have a wonderful, diverse, and distinguished group, and our plan, our charge, is to talk in broad strokes about the international role of the university, especially as it sits in contrast or in tension with our local obligations to the region, both in the north of Israel, in Israel more broadly, and in the local region in which we sit.
I'm very concerned of what I heard yesterday from Mano Trachtenberg. I mean, he is presenting us as if we gave up on being a research university, and he's telling us, listen, there are the three big guys, and now you are a regional university. That's your destiny. Let's cope with that. And I am not in a position still, and hopefully I'm not wrong, of giving up as a great University of Haifa in the north and playing in the international arena.
I really cherish Fred Tauber for having this discussion. This is the first time in my 20 years in the university that we are having a serious and honest, candid discussion among the Board of Governors. And I think this is very important for you to know, because if you go to the other Board of Governors of other universities, you will see what we saw or what you have seen in previous years in Haifa. The facade of the university is not going into the real trouble. So I think that your role as members of the Board of Governors is much more valuable here in Haifa than in other universities.
This year, I can say, I'm proud to say, that it is a complete change. Attendance, motivation, and especially the three groups that the university arranged so we can talk to each other and go into depth how to make the University of Haifa reach a better achievements in everything. So thank you for all the attendance from overseas.
We are having several projects for our graduates in Kenya, in Kakuma refugee camp. So what we did, we developed a training program for facilitators in psychosocial through arts within those countries, and we give them 5 months of training, hopefully to be established with the universities over there, like University of Manila and in Nairobi, to become centers of academic training.
We are going to have 15 students coming this October from more than 10 developing countries. And again, thank you, Eitan.
I recruited in the last year $1 million from the Ruderman Family Foundation. And 95% of my students are not from the north on Haifa, but all over the country. Why? Because I have something good to offer them.
There are Jordanization of the Arab academic in Israel. Today, a lot of Arab students going to Jordan, going to Palestinian university, and this is create a lot of challenge, not just to the university, but to the Arab society and the Israeli society in general.
With the executive committee, I love this university because of the executive committee. So first of all, we have to excel in the north, and we have a role.
I look at the University of Haifa as an Israeli university, not a northern Israeli university, number one. And I think that the world looks at Haifa University as an Israeli university, and it's judged on its standards of excellence.
On the one hand, you're looking for donors that have particular interests, but it starts with a particular vision of what this university is about, and you're looking for the intersection between the needs of donors and the special interests of donors and foundations and the vision of the university. What do you want to be great at? And part of that has to be coexistence. It's just got to be, because it's where we are.
What I've learned is, yes, we can coexist. Yes, we can be a university that is doing research towards peace in the world and peace here. But to do it by talking will achieve nothing.
Can the university address the role equally in all regions of the world? I don't think so. I think we should start in the Middle East because we're here. Europe because of funding, and Africa, where Rachel has, given example. I mean, Africa is a big and an unexplored opportunity for the future.
I would like to suggest that we open a school to attract international students such as the Chinese with language in English. The Chinese want excellence, and it won't work unless we have excellence.
In order to improve the credit of the university, and I'm not very familiar, but it's the fact that do students that come here and pay a tuition have a training period? Do they have the facility to find a job? And maybe the university can do something.
I don't think that we can solve this identity crisis by exporting knowledge to the undeveloping countries, or trying to bring students from overseas here before we become a real campus of excellence. We cannot really become international if we don't have a stand in the national scene, and we cannot be excellent in the national scene if we don't have a solid base in the region, and we are not relevant even for our city.
I think as an area of exchange of ideas, development of research ideas, and a financial market, Israel needs to extend itself and have a dialogue with the world outside the region.
In London, in the UK, it's hard enough to convince anybody that Haifa University even exists, let alone that it's distinct from the Technion. So I think that somehow or other we have to raise our profile, and maybe we have to go back to the core values of teaching the humanities, because that is where it seems to me there's such a deficiency in the whole world.
This university is a bridge. It is a bridge to Haifa community. We build here, we create here the Haifa community, the Israel. And if we want to make a change, the change is not when we finish our degree. The change starts when we enter the gates of this university. And the diversity of people in this university is what makes it special.
This idea of Startup Nation was a revolution, and we in the US have just eaten it up and love it. The next phase that is now being discussed, and I'm going to share with you something that you cannot steal, an idea that cannot go beyond this room, because the founders of this movement will kill me. But going from Startup Nation to Tikkun Olam Nation. So this is what the young generation, whether Jewish or not, cares about. Their connection with Israel, as was just mentioned, is not as strong as my generation or most of our generations. The young people, the young Jews around the world, do not see Israel the way we saw it. So one way to remedy that is to connect Israel with these young people through repairing the world, and that is in Africa, that is in Latin America, that is through all the different mechanisms that are here in the university today. Of course, we have to focus here locally, but to say that we can also be part of the world is an important lesson not to be forgotten.
To really serve the North as best we can, we have to be a great university. And we don't define a great university in the northern region of Israel. Because a great university, we have to be a great university amongst all of the universities of Israel, whether we use the Shanghai scale or the Times of London scale or some other scale. We have to compete there on a global scene.
As one who spent many years complaining about the way these meetings were run, I want to join my colleagues in saying that I am so grateful to Fred and to Hanan and to all of the others in the administration of the university who have created this event for the members of the board to give us a sense of participation and involvement, which we have not had until, well, last year was an introduction. This year is the reality.
First of all,
on behalf, at least on the management team of the university, I would like to thank all of you for your enlightening remarks. And also that you felt the change that we want to share with everyone, the information and also the exchange of ideas and even sometimes criticism.
This has really been a very exciting 2 hours, and I like to think next year we will all be sitting here again and discuss and say something, whatever our query and our questions were, that it maybe had been solved or that it's got better. And Technion Haifa, I'm not sure. I remember this discussion 25 years ago. So it might be another year. But let's meet next year.